Hello and welcome to this special edition of RFL, The Road Ahead. It's our look at the brand new Governor Mario M. Cuomo Bridge, as well as our look back at the span it replaces, the Tappan Zee. And again, I'm Richard French. Now, the new bridge, not only the largest enhancement to our region's infrastructure in decades, it is also replacing what was, for many, the best-known landmark in the lower Hudson Valley. The old Tappan Zee Bridge, a gateway opening up Rockland County and helping it evolve from a mainly rural community to the suburban enclave it's become. And the Cuomo Bridge, it will continue that process, enabling the Hudson River to continue to evolve well into the remainder of the 21st century and beyond.
Good job, thank you.
Whole lot of cheers and smiling as drivers over the new span opened to traffic on the night of August 25th. The ceremonial opening and the first chance for many of us to take in the new span, well, it came a day earlier on the 24th. That is Governor Andrew Cuomo, the son of the namesake here, cut the ribbon on the project that he spearheaded and what also became an homage to his late father, Governor Mario Cuomo, for whom the bridge is named. So let's begin our coverage now with a look back to that grand opening, and our own Ray Ramundi, he was there.
On this very day, under bright blue skies, Governor Andrew Cuomo introducing the world to the iconic twin-span bridge named after his father.
This bridge and the challenge of this bridge was not just a construction and engineering challenge. This bridge is not just a symbol of possibility.
The governor riding onto the bridge in style in a 1955 Corvette, the same model used for the inaugural procession that crossed the Tappan Zee Bridge almost 62 years ago. What was initially deemed as a low-key ceremony was filled with pomp and circumstance. 800 Westchester and Rockland County elected officials, dignitaries, and residents right smack in the middle of the span.
We are undertaking the largest public infrastructure project in the country, and we're building a state-of-the-art bridge that will carry us far into the future.
A cool new feature on this new bridge that wasn't on the old Tappan Zee span is what you see right here, a 50-foot wide emergency U-turn that's supposed to help law enforcement make sure that if there are any emergencies here, they could be cleared quickly. The mere beauty of the bridge, so ever apparent, the design of the steel cables perched 400 plus feet in the sky, its wide lanes, the vibrant new technology from its signage, an unprecedented infrastructure achievement for the state of New York and the 7,000 plus workers who worked for this mission to be accomplished.
Let's say thank you to the men and women, the 7,000 union members who built this bridge not just with their hands, but with their minds, with their hearts, and with their souls.
There's no debating the new span's beauty and design, at least for the next 100 years, will be priceless. On the Mario Cuomo Bridge, Ray Ramundi, Fios 1 News.
Now, just about everyone who used the old Tappan Zee Bridge knew an upgrade was certainly needed, and for a whole host of reasons. You had safety concerns about the old bridge, a more modern look to the region, better traffic flow, even for the jobs that construction would bring. Now, all those reasons and more were on display as Governor Cuomo led a boat tour under the bridge just before the grand opening, and Fios 1's Ali Rosen was there.
The original Tappan Zee Bridge was built in 1955 and designed to last 50 years.
Yeah, that was their point, was right for 20 years. The bridge is dangerous. It was dangerous. And they were spending an extraordinary amount of money to repair it every year. The smart option was replace it. It was a safety issue. It was an economic issue. Make it wider. This was a terrible congestion point on the commute. That was always the smart answer. But it was a great risk. And would the public support it? And could you do it? And could you do it right? And if you went to do it and it didn't turn out well, that's politically damaging. And I always saw it the other way. It's the right thing to do, the smart thing to do. Let's do it.
Governor Cuomo sees this as his signature project, and he sure is proud the $4 billion bridge took only 4 years to build.
I'm going to show them that we haven't lost our mojo. We can still do great things. We're still New York. We're still bold and daring and creative and competent.
We're told more than 7,000 people, from architects to engineers to construction crews, worked since 2013 to build the new bridge. It's made with American steel and is 3.1 miles in length. The construction was expedited by using prefabricated steel girders and concrete road decks, which were all transported down the Hudson.
That would have represented probably more than 30,000 concrete trucks on the roads.
Over 140,000 cars cross the Tappan Zee Bridge every day. But with the new bridge, lanes will be wider, there will be a shoulder for emergency vehicles, and the tolls will stay the same. According to the governor, the tolls will remain at the current rate until 2020. But as far as the name of the bridge, that will take some getting used to. The governor decided to name the bridge after his father and former New York Governor Mario M. Cuomo, who died in 2015.
We built something great. We did it right. We did it on time. We did it on budget. Restored faith in government. I think he'd be proud of all of that.
The governor says the official naming ceremony for the bridge will take place next year when both spans are complete. He hopes to hold the ceremony sometime around his father's birthday in June. In Tarrytown, Ali Rosen, FiOS 1 News.
All right, thank you, Ali. And for more on the construction, the need for new bridge, and those lingering questions about how it all eventually will be paid for, well, let's bring in our guest, Matt Coyne. Matt is a transportation reporter for the Journal News and LowHUD.com. He's covered the Cuomo Bridge in depth alongside Matt, political journalist and author Dominic Carter, and our senior political correspondent, Andrew Whitman. It got done, and it got done on time and on budget, which is a minor miracle when you're talking about projects of this scope.
A little under
yeah, actually a little under.
They've been talking about that.
The governor said restored faith in government. I think that's a very generous assumption. Nonetheless, are you a little surprised it all got done when they said it would and for what cost?
I mean, certainly, yeah. I think anyone should be that pays attention to big infrastructure projects nationwide. On the boat tour, the footage from which we just saw, somebody asked a question, and Cuomo brought about the lack of faith in government, and Cuomo brought up, you know, the big dig happened in Boston, the massive infrastructure boondoggle to bury all the highways in Boston. So he kind of said that, he kind of alluded to the fact that these big projects have not been done well over the years, and this one he really does see as kind of, whether it was implementing design build rather than design, then you find somebody else to build it, or whatever it was. This is something he looked at as very much kind of like, this is a way forward. This is a way that government can do the big projects that, maybe, some argue that we've been missing out on, we haven't been doing for years and years.
And Andrew, I know you've spoken to a lot of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, in the county and at the state level, and people are like, okay, $4 billion, who's paying for it? We'll get to the tolls in a second here, but nonetheless, do you think the public cares, or do they finally say, hey, you know what, we all agree we needed a new one, and in the end, it got built. Good enough for me?
That's an interesting question. I think if you're inclined to question government spending in general, you probably question where the money was coming from, or if you wanted to find a reason to criticize Governor Cuomo, you would certainly look to see the bottom line. But I think for most people, it was just a matter of getting it done. And because there had been such an intransigence in people's feeling like government can't do anything big anymore. And so to actually see something, particularly a project that had been stuck in conversation and debate for years beforehand, to actually see it go from the drawing board and now within 4 years to actually see the bridge itself, I think that's what people are going to care about.
Dominic, you can look at this both through a political prism, but also as a Rockland resident, right? Don't read any of the fine print here for the tolls, but you're going to be digging in your pocket. I don't know how much, but more than you are right now.
Right.
Are you saying it's okay because it just needed to happen?
I believe Andrew's assessment was correct to the degree that most people are probably glad that they can look with all the partisanship going on in Washington and say, hey, something got done and it got done fast. Whether you like Governor Cuomo or you dislike Governor Cuomo, we still don't know the price tag, but he came in, said we're going to do it, and he did it. And he got it done. And if you know Cuomo, then it's no surprise that he got it done a little under budget and on time. Because Cuomo is the type that cracks the whip, and make sure it gets done. And isn't that what we want in our leaders?
And listen, this isn't the only major infrastructure. They're talking about airports in the city
Good
as
point.
well, and more. And certainly we have a political season coming up next year with the governor. But Matt, talk about beyond the politics and who gets the check and who doesn't. It was needed. We've done a lot, and we're going to talk later on in the program about safety issues in terms of, you know, for whatever reasons, it was an attraction for people who took their lives in staggering numbers sometimes. But there were safety issues, not just with this span, but with spans across this country. They needed to do something about it, didn't they?
Yeah, no, the punch-throughs were a big issue for a while with this bridge, where you could literally see through the road deck down to the water. The Thruway Authority spent some money to kind of shore up the bridge and make sure that it could still be, you know, used safely for, you know, the foreseeable future. But there were issues where, you know, federal standards say you want 12-foot wide lanes. The Tappan Zee Bridge is 11-foot wide lanes. They don't have breakdown lanes. A big reason why there's so much traffic on there is you get in an accident, even a minor fender bender, there's nowhere to pull over. That's going to create traffic jams, you know, all down, you know, bridge
And
into
there's
Westchester.
there's two U-turn emergency locations. We're going to talk about a lot more of the specificity. But do you think the way they did this is going to be the model they're going to have to follow forward? People may not remember that bridge collapse in Minnesota.
Right.
A lot of people are saying, unfortunately, this will be new realities for aging spans across the country. Will they look to the Tappan Zee, you think, going ahead?
Certainly, I mean, they certainly could. It's going to be, you know, 4 lanes in either direction. You're going to have big shoulders, big breakdown lanes. People also, but at the same time, the Tappan Zee Bridge at one point did not have as many lanes as it has currently. That was added later as, you know, traffic demands grew.
Yep.
So we're looking at 4 lanes in either direction. You know, perhaps that could grow in the future. But I think the big thing what they're going to look at in the future, other places, really the design build, sort of how they built it.
Well, you mentioned the future,
contracts.
because coming up next, we're going to talk more about that. The bridge, not only out of necessity, but if you go by how the Tappan Zee changed an entire region in the Hudson Valley years ago, how will this one change the region as well? We're going to take a look back at that right after this, so please stay with us.